Yo, what up, C10 Nation? This is Ronnie from C10 Talk. C10 Talk is one of those podcast things. We talk C10 trucks, tech, and people. That's right, people. Because it's the people that make the scene so rad-ass. The trucks are cool, but the people are cooler. You can check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, C10Talk.com, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. Thanks for checking out our latest video and being part of the C10 Nation.
What up, guys? We're here in San Antonio, Texas at Vintage Air. We're gonna get a little shop tour, go inside, and check out how they make all those AC units. Let's go check it out. Hey guys, Wayne,
Ronnie.
good to see you. Rick,
Ronnie, good to see you.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
I can't wait to see what goes on here.
We're excited to show you. Come on, we'll take you around, show you what goes on here.
Let's go check it out. What do you got going in here? You doing some installs?
This is actually our research and development department. This is where we develop all our new SureFit kits and most of our new products. You can tell right now we're working on a brushless fan kit. It's going to be out at SEMA for the first gen 67 to 69 Camaros. We're just finishing up a SureFit kit for the Corvettes. See a lot of 68 to 72 GTOs. We're doing SureFit kits for the 68 to 72 GTOs too. So we get the cars in here, we digitize everything with a ferro arm, get everything all set up, make all the parts for the SureFit kit. Then we do the final installs where we do videos and the instructions and make sure everything's ready to go for the customers.
Wow, a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. No more installs anymore, just development cars.
So it looks like you guys have a lot of templates here. Yep. What goes on here?
This is basically where every Vintage Air system begins. This is our mold boards. You've seen that we've got our thermoform ovens. We've got 2 of them that are dual planting, so we can run a lot of sheets of plastic a day, and we make our own molds. We do all our own molding. So basically we have real good control over all the quality of our systems that go out of here.
Now, I assume that they do run specific on like years and so on and so forth, or is it a constant rotation? Hey, I need some Camaros, hey, I need some C10s, some Chevelles, and you just have a normal process?
A little of both. We always have, we have our sales report, what was sold the day before, so we can gear up, and everything's done through computers and everything's geared up, so we have a production report come out. This is what we need, this is what we're lacking, so we can schedule our plastic that morning, and everything begins with the plastic. Once you get the molding done, it gets trimmed, and then it goes into our next department where all the secondary work is taking place on it, and from there it goes onto the tables for assembly and all the accessory kits to what makes it a Camaro, or what makes it a C10, or what makes it a factory air, and what makes it a non-air. So you start with the basic module and then basically option it up from there.
The plastic starts the whole thing?
Yep.
We're gonna go see what goes inside those plastic units right now. So what do we have here?
These are our finished Cooper Braze heater coils. These have just come out of the oven. You see that the paste is melted and joined the tubes and all of the fins together. You've got your tanks. We'll add our heater tubes, and these are heater coils for a Gen 4. So this is what your Gen 4 has for a heater coil in your C10. So very efficient copper brass. You get a lot of heat transfer in a small package.
What about the paste? Instead of solder, you use a paste?
It's basically a brazing paste that you don't, it's non-metallic. So you're not losing that heat transfer in a lead solder. So you keep like materials together, real good efficiency and heat transfer that way.
Cool. And you make these right here in-house?
Make these right here in-house, yeah. All the parts here.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is our leak check tank in every one of our coils, whether it be a Cooper Braze heater coil or one of our tube and fin coils. Every one of them is leak checked. They're pressurized with nitrogen, and then they're dunked in the tank so we can see if there's any pressure degradation. Once they're checked, they're recharged again, and then they sit for at least 24 hours on the shelf before they're built, and then they get checked again, go through the entire assembly process, and they're checked as a last minute thing to make sure nothing happened during the assembly process. As a customer, when you receive it, you'll take the caps off, you'll hear the nitrogen escape, you know you got a good coil.
Quality control.
Quality control, number one. This is an amazing machine. This is our Trump dual plant laser, and this will cut everything from 20 gauge right up to 1/4 inch. So we do our engine brackets right down to all our sheet metal brackets that you're using in all of our units. And I mean, the great thing about a laser is the holes are great, the finish is great, not a lot of secondary work needed, and we can do about any shape you need. Being CNC, we can go straight from design on the CAD right down to the machine and cut it in a matter of seconds. So it's really speeded up our development and allows us to make running changes if we want to, and bracketry and all that on the machine. So this machine has changed our lives with the speed and the complexity that we're able to do with our brackets and everything.
And the efficiency, to think that the old plasma days where you're grinding and cutting. Yep. Now, does this thing run all day long, or you?
This usually runs all day long. We'll run both sides all day long, and so it's one of the best machines we have. Man, this thing, like I said, this thing has changed our life.
Beautiful, clean,
yep.
Crisp and clean, and no caffeine.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
We had talked about how the laser kind of changed our life. Once we started running the laser, we were using an earlier CNC press brake. You had to line up the parts and do one bend at a time. We started burying our guy here in parts off the laser. He couldn't keep up with the bending. So we went to the CNC press brake, and basically you program in the part and you make every bend one at a time, and they get a finished part. Rather than have to do multiple setups, you go from a bare, basically flat piece of metal to a finished bracket like this in just a matter of seconds. Really allows us to keep up with the flow.
Because one guy, I assume, one guy's here, they become a master of their craft, yep. Knowing, okay, I've got the Chevelles now, and they're going through the process.
Yep. The good thing is, these machines are pretty darn smart, but you've got to have a good guy to run it. Basically, everything we do here, we're really fortunate. We've got a great group of employees that really care about what they do. They're hot rodders. A lot of them are hot rodders themselves, and they understand that what we do here is for people's hobbies. It's not milk, it's not bread, it's not anything like that. It's for something that people are excited about, and they're excited about making it. So we have a good group of people. We keep them trained. We increase our training all the time, cross-train, and that way if someone's sick, someone needs to be out or something like that, you always got a qualified guy to run your machines.
Yeah, that's the best part, like you said, when you're happy about doing what you're doing, and then you know what it's like to get that Christmas gift.
Yep.
You're a little bit happier when you're doing it.
Exactly. The guys here will laugh. About once or twice a year, I have my Christmas morning speech that we talk about, and we remind everybody that, you know, hey, I'm a working guy, I'm a hot rodder, I order parts just like you do, just like everybody else does, and man, when that box gets there, I've saved up my money to buy it. This is something that's big to me. When I open up that box, it's Christmas morning to me. And that first presentation, the quality of those parts is what's going to resonate with you right away. So it's very important to us that we remind ourselves of that every day, that what goes out of here needs to be first class every time.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
This looks like a complex game of Tetris or something here. What do you got going on
It's
here?
It's a good way to put it. You know, we're playing with macaroni in some ways, you know?
You are.
This is the final assembly area for our tube and fin coils. Now, after we bend the hairpins, after we insert them into the fins, the aluminum fins, now we have to circuit it. And what that circuit does is it basically provides a path for either refrigerant or your warm water for heating. So the guys have a sample, they have a print, and they know which elbow to put on each one of these U-bends so that you get a continuous path for your AC refrigerant and for your water. All hand raised, all done by hand. And again, guys that take pride in their work. We have a lot of craftsmen that work here, and all this is done by hand. Produces a quality part, all made in America.
And they know which piece of the puzzle goes which, just by doing
exactly.
it so many
just
times?
Doing it so many times. They have a sample that they look at each time, as well as a work instruction when they start a line of them. They'll always double check the work instruction and double check their sample. That's why it's right here in the center of them. You see it goes right here from the basics to this to the final assembly.
San Antonio, Texas, US
San
of A.
Antonio, Texas, exactly.
That's good. Well, this looks like an old train setup or something. What are you guys doing here?
You know, in a way it is. We've got our tracks going into here. Actually, what this is where we make the U-bends for our tube and fin coils. We start out with coils of aluminum tubing, and one of the newest things we've done this year, these are rifled tubes. So you'll see, if you look inside here, you'll see a rifling that basically increases the surface area inside here. More surface area, more heat transfer.
Does that also help with the flow then?
It does.
Okay.
It does. It helps with the turbulence of the flow of the refrigerant and your hot water. So we'll bring those coils in, comes into our straightener, tube straightener straightens it out, then it goes in and it folds over, and then we end up with a U-bend. And we'll take these U-bends, stack them up with some aluminum plates, expand the copper tubes, and then we have a coil pack.
You know, I'm just amazed at how much manufacturing actually takes place here. And I don't think a lot of people, myself included, realize you guys are building the whole unit in-house.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we've brought more and more of these processes in-house the last 10 years. We used to purchase these coils as a finished unit, The company was going, you know, a lot of manufacturing, as everybody knows, is leaving the country. And this company was closing down after so many years, so basically we bought the entire tube manufacturing company. So we brought all that in-house. And the nice thing about that is we can make changes like the rifle tubing, we can make minor changes to the coils, to the feeders, all that in-house, and we can do smaller quantities if we want to and be more responsive to people's demands.
And if you need it, you got it. You can run it up. Now, how long does a copper roll? How long does one of those last? Do you know?
Yeah, you'll usually get a couple weeks out of it, depending on how many we make. But it's they go through here pretty quick.
Cool. That's a good thing.
Yes,
Excellent.
exactly.
This is pretty rad. Amazing. What do we have here?
This is what we call a coil pack. And this is what we've taken, is we've taken those U-bends we make in the U-bend machine, we've stacked it up with aluminum plates, and then we'll expand the copper from the outside so it grabs the plate, so you've got real good heat transfer due to real good tight packaging and real good contact area.
Aluminum plates, the fins, they have the exchange of air,
yep,
and then
exactly.
the copper.
Any heat exchange, yep, any heat exchanger, you're going from the tube, from whatever it's a liquid or whether it's a gas, you're going from the actual liquid or gas to the tube, to the fin, and then the air going across that fin is what gives you your heat transfer. So the better you get the transfer through the tube and through the fin, the better your actual heat transfer.
Well, and really, we think about, you know, the mechanical fan, the electric fans.
Yep.
We're just trying to move more surface area to get everything cooler, or you know, that exchange.
Yep, it's all about exchanging heat.
Now,
exactly.
Put you on the spot here. When you think about a lot of cars where we get some failure is a heater core, even in a factory unit.
Yep.
What's the fail point on something like that?
The biggest thing that causes failure in any of those is most likely dirty coolant. Dirtier you have, you know, like with an aluminum heater core, you've got to make sure that you keep your antifreeze changed and to make sure that keep the pH balance right, because if you start getting mineral content and hard water and all of that, that's when you start getting corrosion, that's when you start ruining the part. Most of the time, these will last an almost infinite amount of time if you keep the coolant changed as you're supposed to. And it's awfully hard on a car you drive every day is better. The more that coolant keeps moving, the better it is. The more it sits, that's when you start getting the mineral deposits and all of that. That's why we always recommend people use the 50-50 mix of antifreeze and distilled water. You keep all the minerals out, your coolant's gonna stay, and change it according to the manufacturer's specs. Every couple of years, you should be changing antifreeze.
What do we have here? Some completed units. What are they for?
This is the final assembly stages for our Gen 4s, for our Magnum line and our Gen 4s. C10 unit is made from this basic module. All your stepper motors are on, fixing to have last BSC, the blower speed control. We've got our expansion valve mounted. So these are getting towards the final assembly stage. You can see the coil still is plugged, so it's charged with nitrogen. We'll be checking that before it leaves. So again, this is the final assembly, and this is our most common SureFit module.
Well, and really, you know, from my personal experience, taking all the stuff that was out in the motor bay, if a guy really wants to clean it up, and you think, hey, we're gonna, kind of like a modernization, you're gonna take a new technology and put it in an old vehicle, and that's what you guys have done. It's tucked up right there, passenger side, underneath the dash, real crisp and clean, and it cleans up your motor bay, it cleans up the interior, and freshens everything up. These units are second to none, Rick.
It's a great way to go. It's modern technology. You know, the coolest thing about the old trucks is they're an old truck. The looks are great, but this is a way to get some more modern technology. You know, we're all going to fuel injection. We're all going, there's a better way to do things than what was done 30, 40 years ago. And it's the same way with your AC units. You've got electronic control now, no vacuum, no cables. You've got a more modern way, the modern refrigerants. You've got 134A refrigerant. So you're basically bringing the comfort part of your car up to date, and yet you're still retaining the look of the original car.
You don't have to get on Craigslist or the black market for some R12.
Right.
You can just go down and get some 134A and be very cool and comfort.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, comfortable in your truck or your car.
And environmentally responsible.
Good. That's good. Well, you guys build an amazing unit. I would have to say the one thing that I'm amazed is that you guys have over 160 employees here, right here in San Antonio. I would have never thought that you did every single thing in-house. That's got to make you feel really good about, you know, from the beginning to the plastic to the end, that the end user should know you guys are getting stuff made right here in US of A, America, Texas, hot rod people that are building these things. Feel really good about what's going on here at Vintage Air.
We do. We've got a great group of employees, and you know, it doesn't matter what business you're in. You're only as good as your people. And we're so fortunate to have good people, and I'm one of the lucky guys, and I tell our people that all the time. I'm out at the shows, I'm out doing the events, I'm out seeing you guys, and I'm the guy that hears a lot of times, man, it's so good to get in the car and turn on the AC and it's blowing cold and all of that. So I get a lot of the satisfaction out of that, and I try to make sure I always share it with our guys too, that, hey, because they see this stuff leaving in boxes, a lot of times they don't see the end result of it. Now, we have an open house here once a year, first part of May, and we'll usually have 300 cars or so, and we invite everybody to come in. Shop's open, and it's a way for our employees to see where some of this ends up as well. So it's a great way to tie what they do into the end user.
Well, if you can't make the open house, you can watch this video, and hopefully we've given you a little idea of how many things go on here at Vintage Air when they're putting your AC unit together.
Thanks for coming, Ronnie. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you.
Damn, son, what a fun shop tour. Rick, the whole staff of Vintage Air, thank you so much. Made in America, San Antonio, Texas, US of A. If you need AC for your truck, your classic, Vintage Air has a system for you. If you like these shop tours, let us know. Leave a comment below, subscribe, and we'll be back with more. Don't forget to check out the podcast, C10 Talk, OBS Talk, cranking out those episodes at all times. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.